You probably watched at least some of the show Everybody Loves Raymond in the 1990s. Fans became interested in the show right away. Things weren't always as funny as they seemed behind the scenes. Some dark things the group doesn't want you to know. The writers used real-life inspiration for the episodes. Even though it was made up, every episode of the show has some real-life event mixed in. Philip Rosenthal, who made the show, said most of the material for each episode of Everybody Loves Raymond came from real events that happened to the staff or team. Robert, Ray's brother, dated and later married Amy, who was played by Monica Horan. Amy's fights with Robert were a lot like Monica and Phil's fights when they were married. Patricia Heaton's real father was mentioned in the show. Chuck Heaton has been a reporter for the Cleveland Plain Dealer for more than 50 years and is well known for his work. The man is also the father of Patricia Heaton, who plays Deborah on Everybody Loves Raymond. By the way, Raymond's job on the show is also a reporter. The writers of the show found it easy to sneak in a reference to Patricia's real-life father while she was talking to her TV husband because of these similarities. In one scene, Deborah says that she thinks Raymond's main rival is probably Chuck Heaton. Did you see the Easter egg that was hidden? Romano's real brother wasn't the biggest fan of his TV bro. While it was clear that drawing from real life worked for most of the show's run, some things weren't liked by everyone. When the show was on, Ray's real brother, Rich, was also a police officer. This fit with Ray's TV brother Robert, who was a cop, but not always the best one. People who worked with Rich would make fun of him for things that happened on the show. Ray once said in an interview, "Well, my brother was a cop. He's no longer a cop, but he used to steal a lot from the other cops. They think it's a record." We came close to getting a spin-off show about Robert. Raymond had a brother named Robert who was funny and liked by many. There were things about each family member that made us love them. Robert had a special place in the hearts of so many fans, and obviously in the thoughts of the people who made the show. Because after Everybody Loves Raymond finished, they had a great idea for a new show. Robert chooses to move to Philadelphia and become a gym teacher. The show was going to follow him. CBS was interested in the idea that Phil Rosenthal offered, but a good deal couldn't be made. That would have made a great TV show. Patricia Heaton went through 2 sneaky pregnancies during the show. There are many hard things about being an actor, but maybe not as hard as having to hide the fact that you're pregnant while making a show. Patricia Heaton got pregnant twice while she was playing on Everybody Loves Raymond. She already had 3 kids from TV and probably didn't want any more. Heaton and the producers had to try to hide the pregnancies because they couldn't be written into the show like some actors can. As usual, big props were put in front of Heaton. She wore loose clothes and smart shots were used. And they worked for sure. Not many people knew that Heaton was pregnant. Deborah was almost played by Maggie Wheeler instead. Fans of the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond knows Maggie Wheeler as Lind, a family friend of the Barones. But that wasn't the part she tried out for. Her goal at the interviews was to play Raymond's wife, Deborah. She almost got the part, but the people at CBS thought Wheeler was too ethnic to play Deborah, so Patricia Heaton got the part instead. But they didn't want to lose Wheeler for the show, so they gave her a small part, which she agreed to. We're all glad she did. Peter Boyle kept his cancer diagnosis quiet. Peter Boyle, who played the dad of Frank, Ray, and Robert, was told he had cancer in 2002. Several myeloma was found in him, but he chose not to tell the whole crew. He only told his family and a few group members about the news. He did tell his on-screen wife, Doris Roberts, and asked her if she thought he should tell everyone. She told him, "No, you don't need to be treated like you're dying." Since they told him, "You need for them to write for you," Peter kept going with the show. He died in 2006, age 71. Patricia Heaton had a hard time letting go of her TV family. Every TV show has to end at some point, but when you've been a part of something for 9 years, it can be tough to let go. Patricia Heaton got so upset at the end of the show that she spent a lot of the final practice crying. At the end, Heaton cried so hard because the show was over that she lost her voice. Because of this, she couldn't play her part, and the final show had to be pushed back until Heaton got her voice back to be filmed in front of a live crowd. There were real arguments on set too. Some real fights were going on behind the scenes, even though the show was mostly funny because it was about family life and silly battles. Many of them came from people with very different political views than Patricia Heaton and Peter Boyle. There was a big difference between Heaton and Boyle in terms of their political views. This led to heated arguments between them and often made the rest of the group feel bad. Even so, there was still a family-like love on the set, and after Boyle's death, the whole group told him how much they admired him. Patricia Heaton is not such a great boss. Because Patricia Heaton is a popular actress and a busy mom, it's clear that she needs a helper to help her get things done. But it looks like she might not be very good at hiring people. Jennifer Lee, who used to work for her, took Heaton to court in 2009 because she hadn't paid her. Lee sued her former boss for $7,425 because she said Heaton made her work extra hours without paying her. If the rich and famous want to hire people to take care of their every need, they must also refrain from violating California's wage and hour laws, Lee said in her case. However, Heaton and her lawyers didn't say much about the case. The world also lost Peter Boyle in 2006. Boyle was told he had bone cancer in 2002. Didn't matter that he had cancer, he kept acting in the show. Sad to say, Boyle didn't have much time after the show finished in 2005. The actor did have a part in the movie All Roads Lead Home, but it didn't come out until 2008, after he had died. His death in 2006 was caused by cancer and heart disease. He was 71 years old. The world lost a great actor, but he had a good life. Patricia Heaton played the stressed-out wife. Raymond's funny wife, Deborah, has to deal with her in-laws living so close and being around all the time in her home. As with most 90s sitcom wives, Deborah's stressed out, busy, and feels unappreciated as a mom of three. Patricia Heaton played the part very well, and she was nominated for several awards while she was on the show. For her part, Heaton won the award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series in 2000 and 2001. It's interesting that from 1999 to 2005, she was up for the same award every year, even though she only won it twice. After the show, Patricia went on to play another sitcom mom. Patricia Heaton was very upset when Everybody Loves Raymond was over. She quickly found another TV family to love and care for, though. Heaton played Frankie on The Middle. She's the mom of the Heck family. She played her new part from 2009 until the end of the show in 2018. She's written a book since then and used her time and skills to help causes that are important to her. Between 2019 and 2020, Heaton was also in the show Carol's Second Act. Sadly, Doris passed away in 2016. Roberts had a very successful career that lasted more than 60 years. She made a great name for herself by acting in movies and TV shows for most of her adult life. Roberts won 5 Emmys and a Screen Actors Guild Award throughout her career. Aside from the show, Roberts was in a few more movies and TV shows, such as Mrs. Miracle and Medea's Witness Protection. Doris died in April 2016 at 90 years old. Eventually, there were no more ideas to keep the show going. An interviewee of Rosenthal's once said, "Go home, fight with your wife, and then come back in and tell me about it." This, he said, would keep them coming up with new ideas for the show and making more episodes. But it couldn't last forever. Otherwise, people would have divorced. When it came to writing and acting new scripts after 9 years, they were out of ideas. They chose to end the show while they were still on top, rather than getting tired and ending on a bad note. Even though it was sad when the show ended in 2005, no one can say it got dull or old. Ray's big break came on The Late Show with David Letterman. A long time before he got the famous part of Raymond in Everybody Loves Raymond, Ray Romano did stand-up comedy. This wasn't enough to pay the bills, so he had to work as a couch delivery man to make up the difference. The long wait for Ray's break had been 12 years of stand-up. Then he finally got it. He was asked to do a set on The Late Show with David Letterman. Ray got to show off his skills here, and Letterman's company liked him so much that they called him later to say they wanted to do a show with him. There's a lot about the famous series that you probably don't know, even though everyone knows your name in the famous Boston bar. It ran for 11 beloved seasons. The show was always on NBC's must-see TV lineup on Thursday nights. In case you remember this famous TV show, here are some fun and shocking facts about it. Tony Soprano's mom played Frasier's mom, too. Diane's mother, played by Nancy Marchand, was known to be mean to her and threatened to kill her if she didn't end a relationship with Frasier. Rita Wilson, who's married to Tom Hanks, played the part in a 2001 Frasier flashback. Nancy Marchand's most famous part was probably as Livia Soprano. It was also her last movie role. The mother of James Gandolfini's Tony Soprano was sly and mean because of her. The cancer that killed Marchand in the year 2000 was lung cancer. Her part in The Sopranos was taken away after she died. Kirstie Alley is the only main character who didn't make a guest appearance on Frasier. During the 11 seasons of Frasier, Kirstie Alley was the only key player from Cheers who didn't show up on the famous series. This could be because she's a Scientologist and working as a psychiatrist goes against her views. Kirstie said this once. Everywhere in 2002, Kelsey Grammer said she would never do a show about a psychiatrist. Alley took over for Shelley Long as the famous character Rebecca Howe on Cheers after she left the show. She won both an Emmy and a Golden Globe for her memorable part in the show in the end. Frasier's dad was magically resurrected for the spinoff. When Frasier talked about his family on Cheers, he said that his father had died. His father was also a famous doctor, but John Mahoney, who plays his ex-cop dad, is one of the main characters in Frasier. Also, Mahoney made a one-time appearance in the 11th season of Cheers as a fast-talking jingle writer called Cy Flembeck. He was an executive for an ad agency that made jingles for businesses, and Rebecca hired him in season 11 when she had only $200 to spend on a job like this. Norm's first name is Hillary. It was shown in 1991 on Season 9, Episode 20 of Cheers. The regulars at the bar find out that Norm's real name is Hillary Norman Peterson. George Wendt and Bernadette Burkett's daughter is also named Hillary. Some say Hillary was named after his grandfather who once killed a man for laughing at him, as we learn in that famous Season 9 episode. His middle name, Norm, which came from Norman, is what Hillary is best known by, though. That Woody played Woody was a total coincidence. A lot of the non-regular bar customers' real names were used in the show, but Woody Harrelson playing Woody Boyd is just a mistake. The name of the character was put into the plot a long time before any players tried out for the part. Werner Herzog's documentary, Grizzly Man, is about an actor and bear lover named Timothy Treadwell. He also tried out for the part of Woody Boyd and came very close to getting it. Woody Boyd, of course, became one of the most beloved characters on Cheers. He even made a guest appearance on the spin-off Frasier, where he went to Seattle to see Frasier. Norm drank near beer. Even though the bar on the set was working, the actors didn't get to drink all day. It's possible that Norm had it the worst. People who work at the bar often see him with a sudsy beer in his hand. Near beer, on the other hand, is what's really in that glass. It's a weak type of ale mixed with a little salt to keep the head solid all the time. Wendt had to eat more than once, which was a shame. The show helped promote the idea of a designated driver. The people who made Cheers wanted to make sure that no drunk bar guests ever drove themselves home, so calling cabs and having a designated driver came up a lot. The Harvard Alcohol Project helped get this message out there because its founder, Harvard Dean J.A. Winston, was able to meet with Hollywood producers and writers to convince them to include the message in their TV plots. People became more aware of how important it is to drive safely after a night out, thanks to Cheers. There was no such thing as calling an Uber at that time. Sam and Diana did get married in season 5. Since Cheers was filmed in front of a live studio crowd, the producers had to trick the audience every once in a while to keep new information from the show from getting out. To hide the fact that Shelley Long was leaving the show, the live audience saw Sam and Diane get married at the end of season 5. Diane leaves for 6 months to finish her book, but she comes back for a guest role in the last season. The real ending was filmed on a closed set. Cheers habla español. The show was first shown in Spain in September 2011, and it was also called Cheers. It had the same story as the original Cheers and stars Alberto San Juan as an ex-soccer player who now runs an Irish pub. It ran for only 1 season before being canceled, though, because it wasn't nearly as popular in Spain as the English version. It sang Donde la gente se divierte, where everyone knows your name, which was the same catchy tune as the American show. The end of the show is all Ted Danson's fault. When Danson said he was leaving the show at the end of the 1992-1993 season, producers thought Woody could take over the bar. But Woody Harrelson didn't want to keep going with the show without Danson, so the series finale was set. Ted's order to us caught us by surprise, said James Burrow, co-creator of the show. When Ted said he wanted to go, we talked about whether we could continue, could we go on, and we thought no. The cast and crew got drunk for their send-off. NBC made the series finale a big deal, and the cast and crew celebrated at Boston's Bull and Finch pub, where thousands of fans gathered outside to watch the show on 2 jumbotrons. Then the drinks started flowing, and flowing, and flowing. The show ended at 11, Ken Levine wrote in a 2013 article for Vulture, and the next half hour was an emotional tsunami. Everyone was hugging, crying, and drinking a lot. We were all completely wrecked. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon.